Welcome, folks, to the My Black Diabetes Meal Plan podcast. This is Dr. Sean Smith, and I'm joined by world-renowned physician, Dr. Joel Fuhrman. Our goal in this podcast is to get the facts clear on type 2 diabetes so that living with it is completely optional. If you love this type of content, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe it with everyone you know. Dr. Fuhrman, how are you feeling this morning?
Doing great.
Excellent.
Having fun.
Absolutely. And there are some people who are actually having fun in the comments section. When we post these videos, people will come up and they'll have questions. And so what I'd like to do is start the show with just a few of the viewer questions. And then I'd like to get into a conversation around nutrition principles regarding dietary fat. And so we'll handle the viewer questions first. James Norman is here. He asks, I've read a couple of Dr. Fuhrman books. I've improved my cholesterol, A1C, and BMI to healthy numbers, but I'm still working on my blood pressure numbers though. I eat plant-based whole food 6 days a week. I do drink one sugar-free Celsius energy drink per day. Does the doctor have any recommendations?
Well, I need more information, if he's using any salt on his food. Certainly, why is he doing an energy drink if he's trying to get rid of high blood pressure? An energy drink usually means he's taking some kind of stimulant like caffeinated beverage or I don't know, but, I don't know what body fat percent he is, because his body, a male's body fat should be below 15% of body fat. So some people are eating relatively healthily and they've lost weight, but their BMI, is not favorable enough. A male's BMI should be below 22 and his body fat should be below 15%. So I almost never see a person have high blood pressure doing this program and taking all the salt out of their diet as well. So we need more to question this guy further to see where he's slipping up. He already showed he's compromising on the energy drink. He's doing the energy drinks. He's doing a couple little things that's screwing up his achieving the optimal results that he possibly could get. Because I'm saying that you don't need to have high blood pressure or diabetes.
So what would you do instead of an energy drink? What could he do instead of the Celsius, instead of grabbing him? He's having one of those a day. Not per week. And so what could he do that would give him that same sense of energy, but that didn't require him to take on, such a high sugary kind of caffeinated type of beverage?
The body, when you are well nourished, you wake up after you're sleeping and you're fully energized. You don't need anything to wake you up. That fatigue is a symptom of toxicity within the body, and it's exacerbated by detoxification. So I don't need to take some energy drink or any food to go to the gym. I can get up in the morning, have a glass of water and go to the gym. I can go I can skip breakfast and at 11 o'clock while I'm hungry, run 4 miles. I don't need food for energy. My body could live off my body fat. If I'm feeling fatigued, it means I'm eating improperly, chronically overeating, and my body in the catabolic phase where you're burning up fat and using up glycogen, not taking in food. When you're burning up, that's the phase of the digestive cycle where the body is doing the most healing and cleansing. And when your body is healing and cleansing, you're mobilizing waste products to go into the bloodstream, making you feel more fatigued or toxic. And for some people that can cause fatigue. For other people it can cause a mild headache. They can take the headache away by taking in caffeine or amphetamines or drugs like Vanquish, Excedrin, Furanol, Furacet, Midrin, which whose active ingredients are narcotics and caffeine and ergotamines but drugs aren't the answer. He's drugging himself to stimulate himself, which means he's not yet instinctually in tune with food crave with hunger cycles, because he feels fatigued and he's eating or drinking things to deal with his fatigue instead, and that's not hunger. He's still an addict and he's still behaving like an addict. He's using things to treat his fatigue. The fatigue is a symptom that the addictive withdrawal from unhealthy eating hasn't left or hasn't been finished. The body's work hasn't been finished yet. So instead of just eating right and eating lightly and letting the fatigue fade away, he's medicating it with either food or, in this case, an energy drink. So he's never letting his body finish the healing. So we don't eat to get energy. We eat in response to hunger. So hunger is a mouth and throat sensation felt in this part of the body. We should eat when we're hungry. We don't eat to give us energy. We have plenty, and most people who are eating for energy have plenty of body fat they could have lived off of for energy. You know, and it's so important we're talking about this, because this is a major reason people fail on following a diet. Because all their life they've been thinking they're eating to keep their energy up, and and if they're overweight, they're going to need to eat more food to keep their energy up than their body needs when they're detoxification. So they have to stay overweight, stay diabetic, keep having high blood pressure, because they keep stimulating themselves. It may just be an energy drink now, but it might be just eating some extra food at lunch, or snacking in the afternoon with with more food, because they got to keep their energy up. So what I'm saying is, eat right, let your energy go down, and don't treat your fatigue with food, because you'll feel better in a couple of weeks of, your body will finish detoxification and you won't feel fatigued when you're not eating anymore. And then that'll be the foundational stepping stone to being in touch with instinctual hunger, to knowing when to eat and when you're not eating. And when you're using caffeine and other things for energy too, you're not in touch with the amount of sleep you need, and you're enabling your body to get by with less sleep, when perhaps it's just better for you to sleep the 8 hours instead of the 6 hours or something. Maybe it's better you stayed in bed from 10 o'clock until 6 in the morning and been in bed for 8 hours straight. So you can sleep better, and you can be more in touch with your body's needs. And I'm also, so just to reiterate that he shouldn't be taking anything to keep his energy up.
So James, the recommendation, as we're hearing here, is, if you're willing to throw out the sugary drink, or even just the energy drink, whatever content it has in it, and allow yourself to be tired for a time, what'll happen is you'll be able to tap into your body's natural energy resources. That means your fat, the extra fat that would otherwise be deadly if you just leave it there. But that when you're eating well and relying on that fat for energy, you're doing two things at once. One, you're getting the energy that you need in order to move and live and work and play throughout the day. And two, you're deleting that dangerous fat and toxic energy, toxic tissue from your body and from your frame at the same time. And so I think that's a good place to kind of start, is just to remove any of those addictive substances, and just rely completely on the natural foods that you're doing the other 6 days a week, right? Just make it 7. And so I think that's a good place to kind of transition to the next question, because we have Ms. Hill here, and she's asking about super beets. Have you heard of super beets? Are they good for me as someone dealing with type 2 diabetes? Again, this is somebody who is thinking about energy, and the question is really about, I think it's a product type. It's called super beets, highly concentrated powder. Have you heard of this before?
Yes, I have, because beets produce a lot of nitric oxide when you eat them. These are beets made to produce more nitric oxide. But again, we want to get back to the feeling, to reiterate for James too, that fatigue, the feeling fatigue means your body is healing. You're getting rid of the toxins that are stored in the fat supply. And eat right, eat the right foods, don't overeat, get enough sleep, and get regular exercise, and focus on strength and stamina and agility and a variety of exercises, not just walking, side to side movements, lifting weights, abdominal, back, shuffling, do a lot of different variety of exercise. And don't look for magic, because this is work. It's work that involves sensible work, that we earn the results we get, because we're eating healthfully, we're fit, we're exercising, we're getting enough sleep, we're drinking clean water, we're not putting drugs in our body, right? And this is the same question that's brought up now. There's no magic, whether it's just because beets or super beets are an okay food, doesn't mean it really matters if we eat that, because it's our whole dietary, it's the whole portfolio of our diet that makes the difference. There's no one magical food, even though beets are a healthy food, whether you had beets or not, it's not going to make much of a difference. There's a lot of great healthy foods. What about super baby pea shoots? What about super alfalfa sprouts? What about super, there's a million superfoods. What about super kombucha squash and super this and super that? We want to eat the right foods, and we want to eat a wide variety of healthy foods, including super mushrooms and super beans and super soybeans and super lettuce. Don't underestimate the basic lettuce. Lettuce is a rich source of sulfoquinavose, which is actually one of the best nutrients to protect the lining of our digestive tract with bacteria. We're lettuce eaters. We're eat a big salad with a lot of lettuce. That's the most superfood you could possibly eat. And then put other things on it. Yeah, some shredded beets on top, some Brussels sprouts. You want to use those super beets, but the main goal is to have the big salad of lettuce. Eat string beans, zucchini, asparagus, broccoli florets. Eat as many different types of snow pea pods. Eat shoots of, if you can. The greatest thing is to grow stuff in your garden. And I'm a big advocate of people growing bok choy. I want them to grow bok choy in their garden. It's so easy to grow. You can grow all different types of it. It doesn't collect bugs. It's so, garden, eat what you grow. And so, yeah, you can eat some of those super beets, but I want a wide variety of healthy foods in your diet. And keep in mind the GBOM acronym: greens, beans, onions, mushrooms, berries, and seeds, keeping in mind that threshold effect with green vegetables. Threshold effect means that when you're eating mushrooms, a certain amount of mushrooms, you got the full benefit. You don't have to eat 2 cups of mushrooms a day. After a half a cup, you've probably gotten the full benefit. Onions and scallions are great for you, but after about a half a cup, there's no threshold effect. I mean, there's a threshold effect. Once you eat a certain amount, eating more is not going to give you additional benefit. With greens, there's no threshold effect. The studies show as people eat more, they get additional benefit. Up to whatever level they study. When they get up to 2 cups, people live longer when they have 3 cups. When they get up to 3 cups, people live longer when they have 4 cups. In other words, the more greens you eat, the longer we live and the healthier you are. We're green, like the other primates, we're green vegetable dependent animal. And I say that if you don't like greens and you're not willing to eat greens, both raw and cooked, then you better live close to a hospital.
Okay, so Ms. Hill, the idea here is that, it's going to be the entire portfolio of foods that you have. Maybe you like the super beets. If you'd like to add those, that's fine, but we cannot just rely on just the super beets. And Dr. Fuhrman, I think you just gave us like 10 different product lines there. You talk about, super bok choy and super lettuce. These ideas, we laugh about them right now, but there's no reason we can't have these in our diet. There's no reason we can't even grow these in our yard, as you're saying. And so this is actually getting us to our conversation, the core conversation, which is really around nutrition principles. And my belief is that if you understand the principles, you can start making your own choices in an informed way. And to that end, I had discovered this new thing called the Mind Diet. The Mind Diet's probably been out for a few years, but basically it's a whole grain foods, green plants, fruits type of diet, but you're able to have olive oil and fish and chicken at least twice a week. You've been very clear that fats from olive oil and animal fats really ain't all they're cracked up to be. And so as we begin talking about dietary fat and dietary fat principles, one of the things that I wanted to get clear on is the purpose of dietary fat in the diet of a type 2 diabetic. The first question is this: when you think of dietary fats, what would you say their purpose is in our diets? In other words, what are they supposed to do for our bodies?
So we're talking about whole foods are a mixture of fat, carbohydrate, and protein. Even a banana has protein in it. Even a banana has some fat in it. It's mostly carbohydrate, but it's not, but it's pretty much a whole natural food. We're saying, well, how, what are we eating when we're eating a whole food? We're eating a complex matrix of chemicals, phytochemicals, vitamins, minerals, carbohydrates, and the body is designed to eat food in this complicated form. When we eat this, when we extract the sugar from the banana or the sugar from the apple, or take it, then we no longer have food in the element the body is meant to take it, and it starts to have some disease-causing or age-promoting effects. Not when you eat the whole apple, but when you take the sugar and just eat the sugar out of the apple. So we're talking here about fat. What is fat? There's no food that has fat in it. Foods are a mixture of complex elements. When you eat a pistachio nut, it has fat, it has protein in it, mostly, maybe a touch of carbohydrate, but it's mostly fat and protein. but it's in a matrix of sterols and stanols and fibers and nutrients. There's very complex elements in the pistachio nuts, even green. You know what I mean? There's even green, there's even anti-cancer materials in there and things that support heart health. But if we took the fat out of the pistachio nut and just sucked in the oil of pistachio oil, we're going to be leaving all those heart stabilizing nutrients and those anti-cancer nutrients behind, and all the LDL cholesterol lowering nutrients were in the pistachio nut, not in the oil we took out of it. So fat itself is an isolated food element that is a processed food. The whole nut contains fat, but you don't remove the fat from the food and take away all those other elements out of there, you know. Pardon me, my dog just jumped in my lap. But anyway, so olive oil is a food, is extracted fat. And yeah, if you're a professional athlete, Rain, shh, no barking, no barking, I'm taking you out. Excuse me. You know, if you're I'm almost semi-retired, so I can do a lot of exercise because I have more time than I used to have. You know what I mean? Every day I'm very, very active. But I'm not quite as active as a professional athlete. I'm not like I used to be a professional athlete. Let me just throw my dog out. I'm sorry.
Sure.
Yeah, so I exercise a real lot, but if I was and I don't have, my caloric needs are met by my utilization of nuts and seeds and avocado as a source of fat in my diet. I do eat like maybe not a whole avocado, maybe once in a while I eat a whole avocado or half an avocado, but I try to eat a couple of ounces, 2 or 3 ounces of nuts and seeds a day to get enough calories for all the exercise I'm doing. If I was LeBron James or somebody, or a world professional, a bigger guy with an athletic all the time, I need more calories. I need more nuts and seeds, and then a little oil in my diet wouldn't be so bad because I'm exercising all half the day. I'd be exercising. I need those extra calories. It wouldn't be so bad if I had a little bit of oil, like you're saying on this diet allows it a couple times a week. But still, nuts and seeds are a much healthier source of fat. I was trying to put more oil in the food. To the extent you're putting oil, you're diluting the nutrient density of your diet. Because instead of eating the whole food, like the pistachio nut and the sesame seed, you're taking the oil from those foods, and to the extent you use the oil, you're not getting all those nutrients and fibers and sterols and anti-cancer materials you would have gotten had you had in the whole nut or seed. It's always better to eat the whole food than a processed element of that food. But if I was a world-class athlete or a guy who was a physical laborer carrying an 800-pound plow in a field 8 hours a day, needing a huge amount of calories, then putting little oil in your food here and there wouldn't make a major difference because I'm going to be burning those calories off. But most Americans don't exercise that much. They don't even exercise anywhere near as much as I do. They're not slim with a ripped, if you have a six-pack and your body fat is a male, and I'm 68 years old and I have a six-pack and my body fat's around 10%. So if I can pull up your shirt, if I can see your six-pack and you're light and you're heavy exerciser and you're in great shape and you're slim and fit and agile, and then you have a little oil here and there, not probably a big deal. But if you're like most Americans with fat hanging around your waist, then what are you putting oil on your food for? Because then you're just putting more fat on your waist. Better off taking it out, and then because every calorie counts. You know what I'm saying to people is that every day counts. Every meal counts, and every mouthful counts. Why make every meal and mouthful be in your own best interests? Keep moving yourself to being the best version of yourself you can, the leanest, strongest, smartest, most agile and fit version of yourself you can make. Why weaken it by pouring oil on your food? So fat is good when you're eating it in whole food. Green vegetables have some fat in them, by the way. We're getting the fat from the green vegetables, not from oil we put on it. But mixing some nuts and seeds in the meal, though, bringing that fat content up to 15% in that meal, helps facilitate the absorption of the phytochemicals and the anti-cancer elements. But we bring the fat content up by using a little bit of nuts and seeds or a little bit of avocado, not by pouring oil on our food. It's just healthier form of fat because it's a whole food which has that full constellation of healthy ingredients in it that we don't even fully understand yet.
Wow. I mean, so you're getting at something that, kind of disrupts the rest of my questions here today, which is that, you were saying it's maybe not even a good idea to continue to think in terms of fats, proteins, and carbohydrates. Right on the back of all the food labels, you'll literally see those categories. Those are called macronutrients. And I'm hearing you say that they can also limit us in really considering the full plethora of foods that we ought to be having in a day. And they get us away from the idea that whole foods are really what we want to stack our meal plan with. We want to stack our diet with. And so, nevertheless, one of the times that you've been talking about in one of our past interviews, you were saying that ingesting good fats with our salads actually helps us absorb more nutrients like carotenoids from the plants in the salad, right? So, like, how is that even possible? How is it that if I have a salad and I throw some, little pumpkin seeds on it, that somehow, and I chew the salad up really well, somehow I'm getting more nutrients absorbed into my body as a result of having poured the pumpkin seeds on the salad in the first place. It seems that dietary fat is playing a role with digestion and with nutrient absorption. Am I getting that right?
That's correct. Of course, you don't have to. I do recommend doing what you're saying, a salad dressing with some seeds in it, or eating some pumpkin seeds or walnuts with the salad. I'm recommending that. But it would work the same if you ate pumpkin seeds after you ate the salad. It doesn't have to be on top of the salad, but keep in mind, and it goes in the same place. But yes, a lot of these phytonutrients and vitamins are fat soluble, require fat to absorb them to the maximal effect. You can absorb some of the carotenoids and some of the phytochemicals with the fat staying relatively low, but increasing the fat from 6% to 15% might increase absorption 20-fold. Wow. Because the fat cells are needed to carry the nutrients through the wall of the digestive tract. That's correct. Okay. So we have a tremendous increase in fat and absorption of nutrients when there's some fat present in the meal. That's why we usually recommend people eat about a half an ounce of nuts and seeds with each meal, as opposed to eating it all at one time. And we don't want people to snack on them, even though they're good for you, because snacking means you're not eating them at mealtime. And if you ate them as a snack and then at mealtime, you're eating too many calories. The limit of fat is of nuts and seeds. We're limiting them because of their high in calories. We wouldn't have to limit them if we're a world-class athlete. And I used to be a competitive athlete, training almost all day long. And I try to eat as much food as I possibly can. And because I've been eating all the calories from trying to maintain muscle size and growth and not get thin. But most people aren't trying to get more calories; they're trying to get a little less. But so we minimize. They're trying to lose weight. They have enough calories on their body, and they're trying to lose weight. They have diabetes or something. So then we tell them eat about a half an ounce of nuts and seeds with each meal. A half an ounce of nuts and seeds is about 85 calories. Let's say 85 calories of nuts and seeds with each meal. And that gives them the right amount, because in the Seventh-day Adventist Health Study 2, it divided nut and seed intake into 5 different quintiles, and the highest quintile had the lowest risk of heart disease. And the highest quintile was consuming, on the average, above 1.5 ounces of nuts and seeds a day. And the lowest quintile, eating a half an ounce or below, had the highest risk of sudden cardiac death and irregular heartbeats and cardiovascular death. So we see that it's a kind of basic minimal amount, about 30 grams of nuts and seeds a day. We're talking here about 10 grams with each meal for an overweight person. But I'm not eating that much nuts and seeds. I'm eating at least double that, because I'm not trying to lose weight and my body fat's low, and I'm doing a lot of exercise.
Right. So there we go. I'm hearing you say that if we're going to stick with the old categories of dietary fat and carbs and protein, then the way to, at least one way to consider having fats in your diet, good fats, is that, hey, look, they got to come from nuts and seeds, and that their purpose is really to help with helping you absorb the nutrients that are coming from your greens, from your beans, from your onions, from your mushrooms, right? That's coming from your salad. When salad is the main course, the good fats that are coming from the nuts are helping you absorb the nutrients. And so you don't need
there's also beneficial nutrients and life-supporting nutrients in the nuts and seeds themselves. Don't minimize that, because you can't compare the life-giving effect of a full nut and seed compared to the oil derived from that. If you pour the oil on the salad, you'd also get the absorption of nutrients. But when you put the nut and seed on the salad as a source of fat, it gives you a whole constellation of beneficial nutrients along with the fat.
Okay, so not only are you getting the absorption effects, but you're also getting an extra added benefit. What might some of those be?
Well, we talk about these sterols and stanols that bind fat, that hold the matrix of the nut and seed that makes it hold the fat. And though that matrix that holds fat, when you chew it and eat it, it now holds fat in your digestive tract, but it seems to attract oxidized fats better than the fats, even the nut and seed. So it releases the fat into the bloodstream and sucks oxidized LDL out of the bloodstream into the digestive tract. So now it has a fat exchange resin, you could say, like a sponge, because now there's fat in the stool. But the fat in the stool contains LDL cholesterol now that was in the bloodstream, whereas the healthier fats that were in the nut and seed was allowed to pass through into the body for energy. And because the fat from the nut and seeds are absorbed so slowly, because they're released from the matrix that binds them a little bit at a time, the body's able to preferentially burn it for energy instead of storing it as fat. When you take an oil as fat, like the walnut oil instead of the walnut, or the olive oil instead of the olive, the calories all come in 1 minute. And when the calories come in so fast at a time, the body has to store it as fat, can't burn it for energy. So it turns it into fat. And when it's turning it into fat, it's turning on fat storage mechanisms and fat storage enzymes that tell your body not to lose weight. Gain weight, don't lose weight. So therefore, the oil you used in your diet was a contributor to your diabetes and a contributor to your cancer risk. So I'm saying olive oil is a contributor to breast cancer because fat on the body increases breast cancer risk, and putting oil on your food inhibits you from getting the fat off your body and facilitates you gaining weight. So the oil you pour on your food is going to be either preventing you from losing weight or causing you to gain weight. If you take the oil away and now you put nuts and seeds in, it makes you feel satiated. You can feel comfortable with eating less calories. You're absorbing more nutrients, and you're going to facilitate weight loss, not weight gain. It's going to be beneficial to your weight loss. It's not the same biological effects from having, the same amount of calories from oil as nuts and seeds. There are opposite biological effects, not the same biological effects from eating sugar versus an apple either. Different biology when you eat the whole food in its natural form.
Right.
And particularly when you chew it well and mix it with saliva too.
Oh my gosh. And so we've been talking about this deal with dietary fat. Not only, number one, does it allow you to enhance the absorption effects and get more nutrients from the grains you're eating, but it also allows you to strip out the negative cholesterol, what we could call LDL, right? When you eat it, it helps to strip out and enter into your stool rather than remain in your body.
Or into your blood vessels, particularly oxidized LDL, which is the worst actor, causing heart attacks.
So there's a reason to make sure that you're thinking about dietary fat as a natural healing, dietary fat, of course, from good nuts and seeds, that you're thinking of it as a natural healing agent, right? But the reality is that you only need a little bit because it carries so much calories. And so if you can reason with that principle that, oh, this is very good for me, it's going to enhance the amount of nutrients that I'm getting from all my other foods, and it's going to help me delete out negative LDL cholesterol from my blood vessels. Oh my gosh, that could perhaps save me from atherosclerosis or from heart attack later on in life, or from stroke later on in life. I think I'll make sure to get a little bit of this every day. And so, Doc, that's our time. I can't believe that these things go so fast for us. But again, I thank you once again for coming on and really doing these shows with us because they're helpful and they're helping us get clear on the fact that type 2 diabetes it is an option, and we also have the option to not have it. And so once again, I thank you so much, folks. For people who are serious about becoming free of type 2 diabetes, go to myblackdiabetesmealplan.com. What we're doing is making sure that you're getting Dr. Fuhrman's T20 diabetes program along with every single subscription. And so what we want to make sure to do is that you have the tools. We want to equip you with the tools, with the resources that you need in order to make this disease a thing of the past. And so with that, Dr. Fuhrman, I thank you so much for all the interviews, for all the time that you've spent giving to us. And I want to wish you a very blessed day.